Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be looking at a video that's going to be it's the Johnson cancel MrBeast. Now I'm going to just preface this by saying, ultimately, I've had issues with people saying cancel, and when it comes to celebrities before, because ultimately, oftentimes the person doesn't actually get cancelled. They may lose a bit of following, they may lose a dramatic amount of following. But the point is, at the end of the day, if you are a celebrity and you still have literally anyone who supports you, and if you are still worth the hundreds, thousands, or millions or billions that you have, then you have not been cancelled. Okay, it's just a fact. Anyway, getting down to basically, let's dive into the video and let's see it.
From people being angry at Chris for dressing up as a helicopter, to the vegan teacher claiming that MrBeast was promoting violence by not having pineapple on his largest slice of pizza, these are the absolute dumbest attempts to cancel MrBeast, and it all begins with an image of a helicopter from back in 2014. Remember when people were going around making the joke that they identify as an Apache attack helicopter? It was a meme that began back
Transphobia.
In 2014, when a user on Reddit posted a deliberately ridiculous paragraph reading, "I sexually identify as an attack helicopter."
Sexually? Sexually? I don't think it's a sexuality thing, is it? That you may be sexually identified as attracted to attack helicopters.
People say to me that a person being a helicopter is impossible.
But no, if you say you sexually identify, then you wouldn't be saying you are a physical thing. You know, for example, if you were saying, I sexually identify as being straight. Straight isn't a physical thing, so it's a sexuality. So being a helicopter, that wouldn't be a sexuality. That would be an item.
Possible, but I don't care.
Well, I mean, sexually, yeah, because helicopters are physical things. A person being a helicopter, well, a person couldn't necessarily be a helicopter because, well, you know, they're a person, and you know, well, like, in the moment. Now, theoretically, could a person turn into a helicopter? And then you could argue, well, technically, are they being a... Well, that all depends. That does depend if you think about it, because, I mean, in the future, who knows? People might be able to turn into helicopters if they are, like, you know, cyber humans, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, yes. So, person being a driver, I mean, it's impossible. I mean, technically, no, it could be possible, you know.
I'm beautiful. I'm having a plastic surgeon install rotary blades, 30mm cannons, and AMG
cannons. In my country, there isn't a lot of rich people. There's a few, but they're not a lot. So you don't tend to see helicopters. But when I do, I don't tend to see them with cannons. Mostly because I don't think that would be allowed, because that kind of implies you want to kill someone. You know, like in my country, you're also not allowed to have a gun or a knife on the street. So, yeah. There have been a few scandals before where people have said, well, if a knife is ceremonial for like a religion, should that be allowed? And no, it wasn't allowed, so yeah.
AMG 114 Hellfire missiles on my body. If you can't accept me, you're a heliphobe and need to check your vehicle privilege. Thank you for being so understanding.
Well, someone can accept you. If they can't accept you,
thing? Well, MrBeast and Chris incorporated this copy pasta word for word in a 2016 video.
People say to me that a person being a helicopter is impossible. I'm having a plastic surgeon install rotary blades.
It's time to live my dream. She's just staring at me. Hey girl, you want some attack helicopter?
Okay.
I was actually born
That's just, there's no need for that.
in a tank, but sadly it wasn't one of our 52 genders.
And if we take
Well, I mean, ask it to be on it.
the joke and rank it on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being least offensive and 10 being most offensive, it probably wouldn't even hit 1 on the
That depends. It depends what kind of, the issue you see ultimately is taking transphobia and just copying it, or taking transphobia, copying it, and kind of making fun of it. You know, like making fun of a racist for being thick. You know, it's like, yes, technically what you're saying is sort of what they said. It's kind of racist, but you are making fun of it. You're making fun of the thing you said, but it's a copy of what they said. So ultimately, you're making fun of the racist. So it's a bit dodgy because it could be bringing up, you know, wounds. But you know, it depends what mood was the joke made in. Was it made in, oh, this is funny, and they're having a, you know, go with trans community, or are they making fun of the person who said it? If making fun of the person who said it, yeah, it's not really offensive. If it isn't, and it's just, oh, that's a good idea, then no, ooh. Don't worry, put that on the scale, but yeah, it's pretty bad if they
scale, because the only thing at the brunt of the joke is a flying metal vehicle. Yet, because they were making a joke about identifying as something other than their normal selves, some of Twitter's finest would call the video out over 4 years after it was originally posted. MrBeast exposed for what some fans have called a transphobic video. In a now deleted 2016 video, MrBeast says, "I was born a tank, but sadly it wasn't one of our 52 genders."
That part.
The claim that this was distasteful was clearly ridiculous.
You do not know. You know, people have been, you know, cleared of, you know, things before where, you know, you do not know what spirit. That's my point, though. It all depends on what spirit the video is made in. The spirit does matter, because one spirit, no problem. The other spirit, there's certainly a problem there.
And the comments supported such. Where's the transphobia?
Oh, actually, just because the comment section supports it, that isn't a good sign, because, this is what happens when a celebrity gets called out. You see, let me tell you a little story. There's this celebrity who was, you know, accused of attempted murder, and do you really think their fans left them? No, their fans stayed there. So I'm just gonna make this point. I'm not saying you should leave celebrities all the time, but like, it's just sometimes just because a comment section supports the celebrity, that means nothing, because, you know, they're a celebrity. If they're a private person, well, the comment section is more reliable in that case, because that gauges people's actual opinions rather than just their opinions on a particular person, which is pointless.
In their imaginations. I didn't know about the discrimination attack helicopters face till now. Chill, the video was obvious.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's what they were talking about, but, you know.
Obviously a meme. Don't try to cancel one of the best people on the planet.
Obviously, yeah, I know this might come as a shock, but a meme can still be a highly racist, highly sexist. It's not, you see, a meme is just, you know, it does not necessarily, it's not pure. Okay, you can't just be, well, I mean, yes, you did threaten to kill that person, but you did it in a meme, so it's fine. So that can't be used in evidence in the attempted murder charge. Yeah, no, that's not how anything works. it doesn't matter. Also trying to get something about if you, yeah, now, see, first of all, I don't really think this person would be cancelling the person. Ultimately, cancelling is practically impossible for a celebrity, especially a celebrity who's been around for years, because they've amassed a lot of wealth. So, you know, what are you going to do? What, take the money that they have now? Like, you know, it's, what do you do in that scenario? So ultimately, I think, yeah, you should be, and also, literally so many people will be cancelled. Yeah, that's not an argument. I mean, this is the thing I get about people. It kind of annoys me, because it's like, ultimately, it's really annoying for me to see someone make an argument that for defending a person, and it's good. The person is not bad. The person should be defended, but they make a stupid argument. Like, so many people will be cancelled. That's not an argument. You know, if you go to America and you were like, well, let's not be racist, and everyone is racist, let's stop them from being platformed. Like, well, so many people wouldn't be platformed. Yeah, I know. That's not an argument. An argument for saying, oh, this would happen to so many people is not an argument. You're pointing out systemic problems. Anyway, just, you know.
Planet, because they made a video about being an attack helicopter, literally so many people would be cancelled for nothing. What was even funnier was that the people who were supposed to be offended by the video weren't even offended by it. As a trans person, I found this so funny at the time, and I still do. It's honestly so sad people get mad over stuff.
Actually, I know this might be a big surprise, but yeah, that's not everyone. Also, there are plenty of groups that have been, you know, made fun of, and, you know, let's just say there are people in those groups have found that fine.
Stuff like this. It's obviously a joke. LMAO, my transgender sibling was laughing so hard at this. After reading the comments, I was glad to discover that I'm not the only trans person who thought his joke was funny. Yet they—
I think it depends once again what his joke was. Was his joke making fun of the original thing? Or was his joke that? Because if it's just stealing that, well, that's theft. But also, yeah.
His comments didn't stop the original person who was trying to cancel MrBeast, who would continue with this excellent piece of investigative journalism by DMing MrBeast and Chris before stating, "Hi MrBeast, hope you're doing well. I was recently sent a video where you and your friend Chris Tyson make some seemingly transphobic remarks. Chris says he identifies as a helicopter. You make some remarks about gender. It's a video from 2016. Can you..."
I think it's mostly his remarks about gender, but that's the problem. The helicopter thing is possibly just making fun of the person.
Comment? The whole thing was best summarized by the commentary channel Memify.
Genuine question. How are you this sensitive to humor? Even just a joke about attack helicopters offends them this badly.
And while
Okay, no offense, but if your argument is, how are you this sensitive to humor? That's not a good argument, okay? Because if someone made a joke about coming to your house and murdering you, and then they doxed you, yeah, that would be a pretty serious problem. Now, let's say they came out and said, no, that was a joke, though. And they're like, how are you so sensitive to humor? You wouldn't say, oh, that's fine. No, that it doesn't matter, okay? Racist people find racist jokes funny. That's just the thing. So, implying it's a joke that you find funny, you know, ultimately, you know, it's kind of like, well, please don't say that of, you know, oh, it's humor. Well, you know, just saying. Be careful when you start going to the sensitive to humor sort of attitude. Because if someone is making this joke, well, what else would they feel? If they feel this way, what happens when they're not making a joke? You know?
While this cancellation attempt was extremely petty, it was nothing compared to another which would happen at a later date, this new one being so dumb that even PewDiePie jumped in to defend MrBeast. It began in November 2021 after the...
Even... okay?
Incredibly popular Squid Game video was posted, and MrBeast revealed that the entire production had cost upwards of $3.5 million, which included a prize of $456,000 for the winner of the video. Now, this meant that the format wasn't much different to any of his other challenge-style videos. He puts up a bunch of money in the beginning, various people compete for it, and whoever wins is rewarded with a pretty hefty payday. However, for some reason
it's good that it's cash. Well, I made a video before where I looked at the fact that giving people like cars and even in some cases houses is not good because they have to mess with taxes on it. So, you know, if you say, I'm giving them this $1 million house, it's like, okay, well, obviously either you are destroying their life because they're going to have to sell that and they're going to have to pay taxes on that, and they have to, especially if it's a car as well, it's all problems there they have to deal with. And if they're working a full-time job, yeah, that's going to be hard to deal with. Or you are under naming the amount of money you're giving. You're being generous, but under showing your generosity. If you pay for a solicitor to go over everything with them and get all that sorted, if you pay for the tax, you pay all the things, if you do all that, then yeah, it's like, yeah, you're being more generous than you're even saying, which I think is weird. So,
the case of Squid Game, the success of the video seemed to trigger the response that the money should have instead been donated to charity. I'm sure that money couldn't possibly have benefited anyone else. Imagine using this money to actually help those who need that, not for fun. You could have just donated the 1.5 million. Now, this argument makes a lot of sense as an extremely basic surface level idea.
I mean, I think, and this, I'm going to discuss this later, it's a problem with the viewership.
However, when you factor in a little thing known as reality, it crumbles pretty damn quickly. Firstly, it's infuriating because it can be applied to any amount of money.
It really can't, actually, because, big shocker. I know this might come as a shock, but let's say I give away $1 million and I spend 50 quid on the production side of things. I think that's not more than the amount I'm giving.
Oh, you got ice cream on the weekend and got 2 scoops? Why didn't you get 1 scoop and donate the rest to charity? Oh,
because you're not actively donating, not actively giving people money.
You bought a new car? Why didn't you buy a second-hand car and donate the rest to charity?
Well, ultimately, I think you probably should get a second-hand car because, ultimately, especially for buying a diesel or petrol car. Like, I honestly do not get why people who buy new cars buy diesel or petrol. Like, why? Like, in fairness, that is an actual argument, though. Like, why would you buy a diesel or petrol car new when you can buy a second-hand electric car for the same price? Obviously, electric cars are more expensive than diesel cars, but, they're not when you factor in the few years. Like, if you buy a 2019 electric car, it's probably going to be around, if not lower, than a 2023, petrol diesel car.
The fact that it's valid in all situations with any amount of money makes it a never-ending loop of why didn't you just spend less and donate the rest to charity, and to say that it's different in MrBeast's case just because it's a larger sum of money.
No, it's not because it's a larger sum of money, it's because he's actively giving people money. Like, the video is about him giving people money. That's the thing.
Shows immaturity and that the people making these claims haven't thought through the problem in its entirety. The claim also displays an embarrassing level of ignorance about MrBeast's long-term vision, as it fails to take into account that the money invested in the Squid Game video will go on to earn more money, which over the long run will more than likely end up in the hands of the quote-unquote less fortunate.
And that is the problem. That is where people fall down in this argument, because they don't pay attention to the fact that there's a viewer base to MrBeast's content. And that viewer base seems to be just not willing to watch content that is, not as high production. So this is the problem ultimately with being a YouTuber who spends more and more money on their production side of things, which is you can't really go back, because if you go back, it looks kind of shit, even though you are at that point. yeah, ultimately, I was looking at this. Yeah, it's it falls down not when you look at reality. It falls down when you look at the viewer base, because the viewer base will watch that. That was one of the most watched videos on MrBeast's channel. It actually is, I believe. So it's like, well, that's why. That's kind of why all the money was spent,
In the month that the Squid Game video was posted, MrBeast gained close to 10 million subscribers.
Subscribers mean nothing.
And with MrBeast's main message being one of helping others, how can we be so...
I mean, that's a lot of people's messages. Once again, I just really hate it when people make arguments for MrBeast that are bad. It's like, but there's good arguments. It's not like this is a highly racist celebrity who just doesn't have anything. This is a good person in, obviously you can see that. They give away money in their videos. So, it's just kind of annoying to me.
So sure that those inspired by his message wouldn't donate more than $3.5 million to charity themselves over the long run. So sure, he could take the whole $3.5 million and dump it into a charity, but at the end of the day, it's simply a poor short-term strategy. The other problem with these people putting pressure on
it's not necessarily a poor short-term strategy. It's a poor short-term strategy because people won't view the video as much. If he said, I recreated Squid Game and it was actually pretty, bad. It was really bad quality, and it was like those other recreating Squid Games videos where if it wasn't cinematic at all, it was just bad. People would probably click away, like, this is rubbish, this isn't good quality. But because it was good quality, it holds the viewer.
MrBeast to give money to charity is that they probably don't even donate money themselves. Getting to the
that's something.
Point where you're comfortable giving money away requires
also, can I just make, like, that is a very dodgy thing to say, because the majority of people do not have money. Also, the people on lower levels of income actually donate more than the wealthy, just to make you aware. So yeah. Anyway, my point is basically, can I donate $1 million? 50,000? 30,000? 20,000? No, I can't. I don't have that money. I have never had that money. I've never had 10,000 quid ever. Like, I've never physically had that. Like, never had that all together. That's just a fact. You have money that you have to spend on necessities, rent, electricity, fuel, all these things. So yes, you may make 10,000, but guess what? You have to spend it.
An unbelievable amount of personal development. That's why it's a respectable thing to do. And the people who have reached this point of being charitable
again, you're making content out of it, so.
Are not the same people who spend their life on Twitter calling out MrBeast for being a bad person. Thankfully, almost everyone echoed this sentiment. He gives a lot of money away, and through this method he can generate future revenue to help more people.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the thing. The point is, it's ultimately what people don't understand is that it's a viewer base. If you have a viewer base, if MrBeast was just making money off MrBeast Burger and donations and all these things and didn't make any content, that would obviously be perfectly alright. Like, why are you spending 3.5 million on like purchase of things if you didn't get a video of it? Like, let's say MrBeast spent 3.5 million just to make it an immersive experience for the people involved. Like, what? That's weird. But because he turned it into a video, because he filmed it, because he, did all that stuff, that means that now you've kind of shifted from, oh, you should have given that money away, because obviously, if there was no video, yeah, obviously. But because,
I think he's done a hell of a lot more for the people than you have.
That's actually not true. As a percentage of just a possibility, you do not know that. For example, and I'm just gonna say this: rich people steal. They just do. That's just a fact. You kind of have to steal if you're a rich person. So I think it's not really an argument of yes, but I gave a little bit back. Yeah, unfortunately, if you steal in the eyes of the law, yeah, they don't really care if you gave it back. Just saying. The argument of, oh, he's done more to help people in need of that. That's not a good argument. Anyway, just saying.
Grow up. Look at his channel and tell me he doesn't help people. Grow up. Let this man spend his money however.
Okay, that's just a terrible argument. Like, this is what I really hate. Like, he gives away sums of money. This is the argument you should be making, not, oh, he should be allowed to spend his money as he... No, that's not a good argument, okay? If someone has more than like 300 grand, they're now beginning to steal, okay? They're beginning to steal. And no offense, well, that's not their money anymore, that's everyone else's. So yeah, just saying, you should be focusing on the fact that he's giving it away, not the fact that, you know, it's his money. Like, what?
However he pleases. The cancellation attempt was so pathetic that even PewDiePie uploaded a stream highlight in defense of MrBeast.
People were like, oh, you spent all this money like doing this when you could have just like fed the hungry or some shit like that. He spent $2 million.
Some like that. Okay, there's an entitled person.
And building Squid Game, and people are like, well, he's not doing enough. This is the problem with Twitter. Like, people shouldn't have opinions.
Not doing it. I think it's the issue that, you know, ultimately you spend money on a massive amount of money on something. But you know, once again, the issue is the viewer base.
Yet neither PewDiePie or MrBeast was safe from the next person who would attempt the most brain-dead cancellation attempt of them all, that vegan teacher. It began.
Okay.
With the cooker tap, you always have 100 degrees boiling, filtered chilled, and sparkling water.
Began on the 2nd of August 2021
Okay.
when out of the blue, that vegan teacher would upload a new video titled, MrBeast, no amount you give to charity can undo the damage you are causing by promoting eating meat. Now we need to preface this section by explaining that being provocative is the vegan teacher's main method of growth. Her formula is simple. She picks a beloved influencer such as Gordon Ramsay, PewDiePie, or Darman.
Okay, no, sorry. This is where I disagree, okay? Gordon Ramsay is a man who's been sued multiple times for violating, like in his shows, he would mischaracterize restaurants, okay? He's not a good person, okay? Do not, please, do not put someone on a stage, say, oh, look how good this person is, and then compare them to Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay is not a good person, okay? He's just not. Let's just get that out of the ball.
And then goes out of her
Okay. PewDiePie. Yeah, well, that's just not a particularly good person, you know. And Darman, okay, Darman is not actually a creator. Darman is an owner of a creation production company. Okay, so what Darman has is he has a YouTube channel where he pays a bunch of people to act in things where he had writers to write those scenes. So you see, that's not a creator. You don't look at, you know, executives for Disney and go, oh yeah, they're creators. No, they're not creators. They pay creators. They write the checks for creators. Yes, they own the company, which, you know, sells the stuff and owns the content. Yes. Darman does own all of those videos. He can legally fire you even if you were on the production of one of those videos and never pay you a royalty. Although, I'm not sure. Actually, maybe not. You know, legally speaking, you might get sued over that. But you know, point is, he's not a creator. Let's just get that straight, okay? Darman is a production company owner. They are very different things.
their way to frame them as anti-vegan in any way possible. This in turn gives the commentary community a reason to talk about her, providing her with growth through controversy, in a similar way to Jellybean or Wings of Redemption, and with this in mind, it's hardly surprising that the vegan teacher would eventually come for MrBeast. She'd begin by reviewing his I ate a $70,000 golden pizza video by stating that there are millions of children starving around the globe, and that instead of buying an expensive pizza, the $70,000 would have been better spent solving world hunger.
But before we watch him eat a $70,000 pizza, let's look into the eyes of this child. There are millions of children around the world who are starving to death. $70,000 could buy a lot of food.
Or, alternatively, what America could do is stop wasting food. Get farmers to start growing everything instead of leaving things to rot. Get, the companies that sell you food to stop throwing out food. And get you to stop throwing out food yourself. This planet can feed 10 billion people I don't think it needs money to buy food. We already have it. It's kind of the point. I don't need 70,000 to cure world hunger. I need people to not be thick and be obsessed with earning money. That's the thing. So right now, with our food production, 10 billion people. So let's feed them. So no, that's not a good argument. The money would be better spent, not on that, and instead it would be better spent, getting governments and getting food companies on these things to start, not wasting food.
Only this started the vegan teacher's argument on poor footing, as it failed to include the fact that 5 months prior, MrBeast had begun Beast Philanthropy,
which is funded by the viewers.
With the first 4
and the, videos.
Out of 5 videos on the channel doing exactly what the vegan teacher was
once again though, it would be his money, it would be the people who are giving him money these videos.
Complaining about feeding people without access to food. Do more research. He has donated millions to the hungry and the homeless. He's also one of the biggest philanthropists on here.
He's also one of the wealthiest, so that's not really an argument, but
Vegan teacher, those 70,000 could have gone towards feeding starving children. Also her, he bought everything in a store and donated.
Well, it depends what the store it was.
It a charity or whatever, but that doesn't matter. He literally has a food bank to give food to families.
Okay, once again, that's funded by people, so please don't make the argument of this person has a food bank in their name. Where did the other money? Oh, from viewers of using people for content, and also from donations. The main thing is the channel where he actually gives the money.
Families that can't afford it. Meanwhile, the vegan teacher was doing absolutely nothing to help solve world hunger herself. When you search up that vegan teacher charity, unsurprisingly nothing comes up, with her only attempt at feeding the hungry being
who would donate to it.
Her complaining about others not feeding the hungry. Upon visiting her Patreon, it states, "Each donation, big or small, helps to sustain me so I can devote more time and resources to helping save the animals by educating others about not eating, wearing, or using them," which roughly translates to something like, "The money will go directly into my bank account, and I'll continue to make videos framing decent people as evil anti-vegans."
Evil? Well, that's pretty much every single content creator. It's a problem with framing one person as bad. No, I think all content creators who are, big and still have Patreons are kind of bad. When I say big, I mean earning millions.
Which is what she would do to MrBeast as her first video continued to roll. The vegan teacher's next criticism was that MrBeast didn't specify whether or not each item of food was vegan.
$5,000 tacos.
Are they vegan tacos made with beans and vegan cheese?
This is $1 pizza.
Is that vegan cheese?
This is a $2 hot dog.
Is that a vegan hot dog?
Yet when you think about it for a couple of minutes, this would actually...
I'm not sure, maybe this was clipped in a bad way, but yeah, that's a pretty bad That's a pretty bad argument, actually.
Be an incredibly dumb thing for MrBeast to do, as it would set an impossibly high standard for future videos. For example, if MrBeast attempted to appeal to the vegans once by stating that he was eating vegan food, he'd run the risk of backlash in future videos, as the audience could now use leverage against him by stating, "Oh, you were eating vegan food before, why didn't you continue doing so?" ironically making the consumption of meat less controversial. Additionally, while vegans have a reputation for being quite vocal, according to the data, only 2% of the US population is vegetarian.
And how many of them are vegan?
And out of that, only 0.5% of the population is vegan, and therefore making content to appeal to vegans would be a poor strategy, when MrBeast has stated on numerous occasions that his goal is to simply reach the widest audience possible. The vegan teacher would then go on to state that MrBeast's video of him eating different foods worth different amounts of money was promoting violence and destroying the environment.
MrBeast, unfortunately, I have given you so many X's here for promoting the violence, for not talking about the environment.
Before going on to state that he needed to become a vegan animal rights activist in order to undo the non-existent damage.
You need to go back and undo the damage that you've done. The first thing that you can do, MrBeast, number 1, is become vegan. Number 2, become an animal rights activist for the rest of your life. Tell people that the videos that you've done in the past, including this one, that you're ashamed of, and that you wish you had never done them.
Which was concluded by
Yeah, this is a very bad argument.
By the vegan teacher demanding MrBeast apologize in her comment section.
MrBeast knows about my channel here. Make sure that he subscribes and that he joins me in the comment section.
Okay, now that no, that's.
Tell me that he's going to change.
Unsurprisingly, the vegan teacher never got the apology.
Also, MrBeast is not publicly subscribed, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he has subscriptions public, does he? I don't think so. I think it's just the other channels are listed there, but I don't think his subscriptions public. So if he subscribed to you, you wouldn't know. He could be subscribed. You don't know. Probably not now, let's face it, but you know.
Apology. However, one thing she did receive on the video was an impressive dislike ratio.
That's kind of mean.
Of 96.4%, alongside comments such as, he literally spends most of his money saving the world and helping others.
You don't know that.
The amount of money he donated to people in need and to plant trees is more.
Yeah, I don't think that's an argument of, yeah, he's rich. You won't be rich in 100 years. Well, yeah, that's how numbers work. Everybody can't be rich because that's impossible. Because, you know, well, that's how numbers work. Everybody's number can't be a couple of million.
More than you can make in 100 years. Beast is a legend, he doesn't deserve this. However, with the vegan teacher's video receiving more views than any of her other uploads, only 6 days later she'd post another video attempting to cancel MrBeast, this time titled @MrBeast Stop Paying for Animal Abuse, in which she'd go on to call MrBeast out for not specifying whether or not the base of the ice cream they were eating was vegan.
But what is the base made out of? Is the base made out of something vegan? I don't know what you're eating. It's some sort of cake, but you didn't. So I'm gonna put another X
Okay, and this is kind of argument.
because you're not saying specifically that it's vegan.
2 weeks after this statement, the vegan teacher would upload a third video in which she'd state that MrBeast was again promoting violence, this time by not having fruit and vegetables on his pizza in the I ate the world's largest slice of pizza.
What? That. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
It's a video.
Where is the pineapple? X. What on earth? What is this pizza? There's not one single vegetable on there? Where are the mushrooms? Where's the spinach? Where's the broccoli? What else have you got on there? You have no green peppers? No hot peppers? That's not food? What is that? Is there even sauce on there? Is there even tomato sauce? X.
This was best summarized by a comment reading, someone needs to explain to the vegan teacher that putting vegetables on something doesn't make it vegan. However, this was still nothing compared to that vegan teacher's most outrageous comment of all 3 videos.
Pizza has cheese. Like, it has to have cheese. That's part of what a pizza is.
Should state that because MrBeast had a professional hot dog eater in his video, this was promoting the food poutine. Poutine has cheese in it, cheese comes from milk, and milk is taken from cows, and therefore MrBeast is promoting the act of stealing.
Why are you promoting people that eat large amounts of food?
And not only does he hold the world record for hot dogs eaten, but he has so many.
Did you even say vegan hot dog at all? What else?
Yeah, I don't think the hot dog was vegan, so that would be lying if he said that.
So you got here poutine with cheese on it. Cheese comes from milk, which is stolen from mothers after their babies were taken from them. Do you think that kidnapping is okay, MrBeast? Kidnapping babies and stealing from them? Do you think that stealing is okay? Apparently you do.
Well, obviously. I mean, obviously. That's fairly obvious, isn't it? He's caught up in an NFT scam. It's fairly rich in content. Now, obviously, if you use that money to donate to people, then in that case, but you know. But yeah, obviously.
Unsurprisingly, all 3 of the vegan teacher's attempts to cancel MrBeast failed miserably as...
Does that have a like? Did the vegan teacher... Wait. Did she like the video she's critiquing? She liked the video she's critiquing. Is it in the video? Because either he's clipping her out of context or else, why would you critique someone that much and then go, but yes, I will give them a like, yes, I will push them in the algorithm, yeah, I will do that.
Unsurprisingly, all 3 of the vegan teacher's attempts to cancel MrBeast failed miserably, as did the 2 we discussed earlier. In fact, there really hasn't been a single bit of MrBeast drama that's...
Yeah, I know this might come as a shock, but like, the streamer?
That's had the slightest effect on his reputation. His bulletproof public image and masterful management of controversy turn every cancellation attempt into water off a duck's back.
Yeah, I think ultimately the problem is the arguments made for him are pretty bad. I think it's trying to get a varied argument, and then unfortunately it's just a bad argument. The argument is he gives people money in his videos, and while yes he does make money off that, you know, he actually is giving people money. So you know, like that's the argument. You shouldn't be arguing, oh, he, you know, helped raise money, because that's not an argument. You know, if I was a very famous celebrity, could I raise millions? Yes, I could. Would I be giving it? That's a different story. The point is, you know, it's not what you raise, it's not what you get other people to do when you can do it yourself. It's what you do.